James Joyce's A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man is a classic commentary on religion, intellectualism, and Irish culture. But more than anything, it's an autobiographical novel, Joyce's attempt to rationalize the world that he lived in.
Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the centre cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming.
Stephen functions not only as the main character in The Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, but also as Joyce in fictional form. Stephen is put into a family identical to Joyce. His mother is a strong Catholic, and father struggles to provide for the family. The autobiographical writing style allows Joyce to include actual moments within the fiction scenes. Stephen's encounter with the prostitute and joyful sitting coming from this occurrence was an impactful moment in Joyce's life. His exposure of this sinful act reveals the beginning of Joyce's questioning of where his faith and salvation stood in the eyes of the Catholic Church. Joyce attended the same schools as Stephen, beginning at the elite boarding school Clongwoods, where he strives to remain unnoticed and out of the eye of the priest. Moving on to Belvedere and University College marked his transition to using reason and intellectuality over religion. This is confirmed when he rejects the offer of becoming a priest, enduring his mother's horror and society's shame, and chooses free thinking over order and structure.
Hell is a straight, dark, and foul-smelling prison, an abode of demons and lost souls, filled with fire and smoke. The straightness of this prison house is expressly designed by God to punish those who refuse to be bound by his laws. In earthly prisons, the poor captive has at least some liberty of movement, were it only within the four walls of his cell or in the gloomy yard of his prison. Not so in hell.
Joyce sets Stephen into a family of strict Catholicism, believing that every action the church performs is the true intention of God. The extreme opposites regarding religion face him, beginning at the first Christmas dinner, where he is allowed to sit at the adult table. Mr. Daedalus commends those who argue against the priest's involvement in Irish politics, while Dante scathes at his approval of Catholics who challenge the church. This argument foreshadows the struggles Stephen will face in his life, the two extremes of devout Catholicism, or defying and giving in to sin completely. He initially turns his back on religion, sleeping with prostitutes on a regular basis, but being altogether aware of his repeated sin. Through the school restitution, he asks God for forgiveness for all his sins, and he becomes a devout member of the Catholic Church, to the point of being pegged as a future priest by fellow fathers. Finally, when given the option to commit to a permanent life of obedience, Stephen chooses free thought and action, becoming an independent person, against the viewpoints of both his family and society at large.
Running in circles, coming in tails, heads on a side.
Joyce's life is set in a period of religious and political strife between Ireland and Great Britain. Ireland, where the story is based, has been under English rule since the 1500s. The majority of Irish were Catholics who wished for Irish autonomy. They were set against the minority Protestants who wanted to remain tied to England. It was this infighting, intense environment that led to Joyce's self-exile to Paris, where he fulfilled his promise as a writer.